Over the past few decades, MMA has grown exponentially in popularity, the UFC being the company leading the charge. Many athletes within the company have become household names in the West, with some even becoming global superstars. Like with any new sport, it takes a while for the rules to be established and for standards to be set. In the early days of the UFC, the only rules were essentially no weapons. This quickly garnered the UFC the reputation of being a barbaric blood sport and morally questionable. But over time, certain rules were established to slightly reduce the vulgarity of the event. Keyword, slightly. And to further emphasize that MMA, though brutal as it is a sport with rules and officiating. Because at the end of the day, while the knockouts are exciting, true fans of the sport don't want to have to see their favorite fighters suffer unnecessary brain damage or have to retire early due to avoidable injuries that were caused by a lacking referee. Which leads me to the point of this video. Why is it that a company as massive as the UFC have some of the worst officiating in all of sports?
Who the fuck is that guy?
In the UFC, not only can you cheat your way to a win, but you can cheat your way to become a champion, or even cheat your way to become considered one of the GOATs of the sport. And the fighters know this, because even at the highest level of the sport, fouls are not being called, points are not being taken, and the fighters are using it to their advantage in order to win high-level fights. By the end of a fight, if a fighter received 2 or 3 warnings, that means absolutely nothing on the scorecards. Before you rush to the comments to argue that officiating is one of the hardest jobs in the world, I do agree officiating is difficult, and I don't expect the refs to be perfect every single fight. However, some of these mistakes that are happening at the highest level of the sport are truly unacceptable if you think about it, and I think in any other sport at the highest level, these refs would just be replaced. The amount of excuses and lack of accountability for UFC reffing is kind of baffling, especially considering that the fighter's livelihood and possibly their lives are on the line. It really makes you start to wonder why the UFC is sticking with some of these refs for so long. Herb Dean has been a staple in the UFC for decades, and there was a time where I do think he was a good referee, but that time has long since passed, and hardcore fans of the sport know that he is awful. But it's not just Herb Dean. I'd say most of the UFC's top-level refs just don't seem qualified to be doing what they're doing. I mean, like I said earlier, people's lives are on the line. And while there are still some good refs in the UFC, like Mark Goddard or even Mark Smith, the other refs are allowing way too many fouls in big events. There are so many examples of this throughout the sport. So, today I'm going to go through some of these examples just to really illustrate just how bad it is. UFC Freedom 250, the biggest event of the year. Herb Dean is scheduled to officiate Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane, a massive fight with massive stakes. Alex Pereira was moving up a weight division looking to make history by becoming a 3-division champ. And for Cyril Gane, this was his 5th championship fight. Cyril Gane has been known to fight dirty in his past fights, and even Alex knew this and brought it up to Herb before the fight.
He's gonna kill someone, man.
You know what's funny? In the rules meeting, when Fajeda was talking to the ref, they were having the translator go over like back of the head, because I remember when Gane finished.
JDS.
Wasn't JDS hitting him kind of elbow in the back of the head, but he's kind of turning away, so it's
Is
kind
that what Pereira was talking about?
Yeah, that's why they were talking about the back of the head. But did he land a couple back of the headies?
Couple dingers.
Like 12?
Cyril Gane ended up winning the fight, but it didn't come clean as mentioned on the Guru podcast. Gane landed about 12 elbows to the back of Pereira's head. Now whether you think Gane would have won the fight regardless of the fouls is kind of irrelevant, because the real concern here is that Alex Pereira could have suffered serious brain damage from those back of the head shots. We've seen in boxing not even that long ago just how devastating back of the head shots can be. In my opinion, it should only take one for the ref to stop the fight and take a point away. To add insult to injury, because Herb received so much flack for his officiating at UFC Freedom 250, he went on to make a video illustrating where you can and can't hit on the back of somebody's head. Ironically though, the areas he was showing were the exact areas in which Pereira got hit in the back of his head. Even worse is that just 1 week later, the next UFC event, Herb would go on to do the exact same thing. Vinicius Oliveira would get the finish via back of the head shot elbows on Andre Fili. And again, this took place just 1 week after the incident with Alex Pereira. And if it feels like we're just focusing on Herb right now, It's because he has been on an awful run as of late. During the main event of that same card, Herb allowed Kopp to get away with multiple eye pokes on Hiraguchi without taking any points away. Then, just 1 week later, at the next UFC event, Herb allowed another egregious call, with Shara Magomedov being able to pull on Michel Pereira's hair. Again, no points were taken, just a simple warning, and this could have changed the course of the fight. All of these incidents took place at the last 3 UFC events. So, yeah, it's been a bad run for Herb. But to be fair, let's look at some of the other UFC officiating to see if it's just as bad. At UFC Fight Night DeRitter vs. Allen, on an earlier fight on the card, Kyle Nelson got the finish over Matt Frivola at the end of the first round via TKO. Or at least, that's what should have happened.
But he's in danger! 10 seconds on the clock, Nelson, huge shot! He's hurt! And that'll do it!
But according to Dan Miragliotta, who stopped the fight with 3 seconds still left on the clock, Matt Frivola just wasn't done yet. According to him, he just hadn't had enough. Matter of fact, according to Dan, the fight wasn't over yet, and Matt had to suffer another 2 rounds of getting beat down for no reason. This has become a trend in the officiating career of Dan Miragliotta, as he is now known as one of those refs that lives by the motto, if he dies, he dies. Dan has also been known to have personal issues with certain fighters and has given unjust point deductions based off of emotional reasons. Now, the next few refs don't have nearly as bad of a track record as the former two. However, they're not exempt from making some pretty bad mistakes as well.
You need them to be perfect. Their main job is to protect you. When I fought Michael Chandler, I'm still... And again, I only speak about it now because I've never had a retraction from the referee. Whenever he poked me in the eye, and then he didn't get in between us, and he let him hit me with a huge shot, and then he doesn't give me my time to rest. Not rest, to recover. And there was only 5 seconds left in the round, so it turned out that I got a break anyways. But he goes in there, he says, "Are you good?" I said, "No, I'm not good. He just poked me in the fucking eye." And he says, "Okay, but are you good?" And so then it's like, can I still fight? So then I said, "Yeah, I'm good." And he said, "Okay, go."
What referee was this?
The guy with the braids that he puts in his thing.
Mike Beltran.
Yeah, Mike Beltran. And so I was very upset that he let Michael Chandler land that shot. And I know why. He was so scared of the fucking heat we were throwing that he didn't want to jump in there and get in the middle of it. But his job is to protect me. And he failed. He failed so bad right there. And so, like, after the fact, I was like, I need you to acknowledge this so that you do not ever let that happen to another athlete in there because you fucked up so bad. And, you know, he's trying to justify it. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? How can you justify this? Mm-hmm. And so that, for me, that pisses me off. And then the decision not to give me my time, like, I need an explanation. Yeah. You know, and because I need to know that you are going to learn from this experience. And for right now, I still believe that he doesn't think he did anything wrong. And so I'm still upset about that.
Well,
after the round ends, I walk over to him like, "Dude, get your fucking head out of your ass. What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "Go to your stool." I was like, "No, what the fuck are you doing? Like, your job is to protect me. You just let me get hit with a huge fucking shot. What is going on?" And he's like, "Go to your stool, go to your stool." And I sit down and then boom, never thought about it again. But
I mean, that's a mistake.
Who's the ref that against Khabib? After the fight, he corners me in the hallway, and he's like, I know you would never tap." I was like, "I tapped 3 times." He's like, "No, you would never tap." I'm like, "Dude, from the horse's mouth, I'm telling you, I tapped." And he still was like, "No, you wouldn't tap." I was like, "What the fuck? How can we get through this?" Like,
so
I tapped 3 times. I went to sleep.
And you went to sleep. I've seen that.
Yeah, I tapped 3 times.
100% you tapped.
Yeah.
100%. And then he's like, "No, you would. You know, I know that you with the way that you compete.
Who's the referee?
What's the guy's name?
I hate to throw. I don't even want to throw Herzog. I don't even want to throw him under the bus. You know, because it's like his intentions were good for me.
Right.
You know, he believed I was.
He gave you a chance.
Gave me a chance, but like I fucking tapped, man. Like I did.
And the fight should have been stopped.
And I went to sleep because of it. And luckily, there's no detrimental and chronic, you know, long-lasting problems because of getting choked out. So I mean,
not like getting knocked
there's
out.
no repercussions. Yeah, there was no concussion. There's no TBI. Like, it really is not detrimental at all. As long as you don't hold it too long and I die, as long as I wake up, I'm good.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, like the repercussions aren't as severe. And so, like, whatever, I'll just let this go. But ultimately, he did it. I mean, even when I told him, he didn't believe me.
That was the first thing you said when you jumped up. You went over to him, and then you guys had the conversation afterwards. But you went over to him saying, dude, what the fuck? I tapped.
Yeah, dude.
And then he's like, no, you didn't. And then we seen him later. But that was the first
No,
thing
he didn't. I was like, dude, I tapped 3 times. I tapped 3 fucking times.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious.
Like,
People make mistakes and they don't see
And everyone was
things,
like, oh,
too.
you said, you're some kind of fucking, you think you're some kind of Superman. Why would you tap? It's like, when your life is ending, you're a fool if you don't understand that. Like, I knew I was dying. And that's just where I was. Yeah.
At this point, you're probably starting to get the picture. The UFC seems to care more about name value than they do about protecting their product, which is the fighters. For the sake of my own time, I am going to wrap this up, but if you'd like to see a more in-depth version of this video, where I dive deep into each referee and all of their fouls throughout the years, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, have yourself a wonderful day, and be vocal about these bad referees online. It's our job to help the fighters where we can.